You know, just think about the people that you've worked with. We've obviously been working for a couple of years in this industry. And, over time, how many RNs, how many colleagues have you worked with who you feel are burning out or they get stuck, or maybe they're in that position that you're in, Maggie, or you were in, and that's just looking for something more, like without actually knowing what it was, but you just know that where you were wasn't where you wanted to be. I remember when I first finished my training, I was so ambitious. I was going to be the Florence Nightingale, I'm sure. I was going to change the world because, I felt so empowered through my education. I think that looking after nursing,
Mm.
our mindset, our career goals, and our career path is really, really important. So I went to Alice Springs. I accepted a postgraduate position in Alice Springs. There were 33 of us that started there, and three of us finished 12 months. Was it was tough. But I ended up staying for 3 years. And then I did a Maggie. I packed my bags and I went overseas it was going to be 12 months, and then I came home and then I went again. So it turned out to be 2 years, and it was brilliant. Yeah, it's a big decision, I think, to actively go and seek out the education because education means change.
When it came up on Maud's page, I was like, actually, yeah, I think that's something I need to come and listen to because I know that I was sort of like at the end of burnout before I decided I was going to travel. And I just finished my postgrad diploma and I wasn't quite ready to take that next step to do my master's. So I was like, now is a good time for me to do something for me, which was traveling,
Yeah.
before I get back into nursing because I know that's where my passion is. But I was just having a bit of a lull, I guess.
I think that's really important that you've actually recognized the burnout. What was it that you recognized? Like,
I think I was just like always so tired and the shifts there I was living to work.
yeah, yeah.
Like I wasn't working to then like live my life. It was just like when am I working next? And yeah, I just my life revolved around it.
Yeah.
I actually do feel like I my life revolves around work at the moment because it's full time, and I do 3 nights a week,
Mm,
and that, like at the end of it, I just feel exhausted, and then I have to start again.
yeah.
But it's a short term thing which I'm committed to. Um, yeah, and I do want to move on and do something else eventually. I'm also interested in dialysis,
The
as
reader. Yeah.
dialysis as well. And I wanted to become a registered nurse so that I can one day travel this country, if not the world, and help people and get into the community and help people. And there's so much that I wanted to learn to, uh, you know, to give me the skills to do that. Yeah, so at the moment I'm stuck at one hospital. So um yeah. But I love my job. I love my role because I get to move around the hospital. I'm not stuck in one ward.
And I think that's part of the conflict too, isn't it? You can be happy at work and then, and but it is overtaking your life so much, and it's finding that balance. So my next question then is what does what does success look like or feel like for you? You have to unmute yourself more.
I know that I'm not a nurse, but one of the reasons, asking why you here, one of the reasons I particularly chose to come to Lisa's talk was that I looked at the topic and I thought, gosh, I've worked with so many nurses over my life, and I have such a lot of respect for nurses and what they provide, and I honestly feel they're so undervalued. And I've seen so many nurses getting burnout. I thought, I just want to come and get a feel, because, maybe not that I can direct people, but I can say, well, actually, maybe you could look at this, because I feel like there are so many. I feel like it's such an important profession, and it's honestly undervalued in so many ways. Just the fact that, you have to, just you have to work, and then someone's not there and they call you up and they say, oh, we're done a shift. And even though you've just worked a shift and you're supposed to be off, you come in. Nurses put their heart on the line time and time again. And so that's why I'm interested to hear. So going back to your question before, but that's why I'm interested to hear is like, how can you move into a place where it actually you're doing what you love, but you also feel even more fulfillment and more options, and even, I guess, more value filled. Not that you're not valued by a lot of people, but it's almost that it's taken for granted a lot of the time. It's taken for granted that you'll just put everything aside and come in for the extra shift or whatever. And so I'm just interested to hear.
Yeah. And I think that's right. I think sometimes this is, it's not just a career, it really is a vocation. When you look at how disruptive shift work is to our individual health, as well as to our social health, as well as to our emotional health, and our physical health, it is disruptive. So I'll ask you again, guys, what does success look like and what does success feel like in this career or for you?
I think sometimes, like at the end of a shift, it feels like successful if you've had a really good shift, you've been on with a really good team, things like that. And then if I look like long-term success for me, I'd love to do like a CNS role eventually, but just finding my path to that role, I think, would be, so I feel like I'm kind of on that path, and then I veered off a little bit, and now I'm going to try and come back on, but we'll see how that looks as I navigate my way through, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I think like in the context of my career, I am successful, I have to say, in a way that where in my role as like a float nurse, I get to float around the hospital. I like what I do.
Yeah, I'm asking you, what is it?
And success
Like
to
you feel like?
me, I mean, like, not success to me, not in just in my career, but success to me means having choices.
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah, having choices. You're having the freedom to choose.
Yeah.
That's success to me.
Yeah, for me, I think success is joy. It's happiness. It's, and I think if you enjoy your work, and then you can bring it home, and then we can, we always talk about the balance, work-life balance. And I think for me, success is joy in what I do, whether it be at home, whether it be at work. So,
I just learned a lot from her. I mean, people would send things, and so I really I liked working for her. It was inspiring working for her.
have somebody, to be inspired by, because if you can be inspired by somebody else, then you can be inspiring to somebody as well. And I think sometimes we forget that as RNs, we can be inspiring to, junior RNs, to, patients. You're always on show. And I think you probably be surprised at how many people are actually inspired by you. I'm inspired by you, Maud, too, by the way.
Look, I feel like that when you're in hospital as a patient, I've been in hospital as a patient, like the doctors, who cares? The people who are there for you are the nurses. you know, and sometimes it's even, you know, like the tea lady, but, you know, like I think that we have this idea that there's some sort of hierarchy, but for me, it's very much a team, and it all works together. But for me, it's the nurses who are doing they're the ones who they're the ones who are doing the day-to-day stuff. And I'm inspired by so many nurses I work with. And you know, I feel like, you know, I've been saved by many by them coming and saying, oh, by the way, including you, Maggie, you know, all of the people I've worked with, I've always felt like it's really important to be part of a team. And it feels like when you're in part of a team, that there is this sort of, that everybody sort of inspires everybody else, but we probably don't call it inspire. Do you know what I mean? We probably don't say, oh, I'm inspired by that person. But Maggie, you said, oh, when you've come off with a good team, you know, that you feel success when you've had a good day and you've had a good team. And I feel like that's probably everybody's feeding off each other's energy, and you're sort of inspiring and bringing out the best of each other. And maybe we don't call it inspiring, but that's sort of what it is.